Okay, hey YouTube. Today I wanted to bring you another video for the White Forest Runick deck. And today I just wanted to do some test hands and kind of show you how I would play the deck and what the kind of strategy looks like. This is quite a different type of deck to the, what would you say, the toy box version. The game or the deck plays a fair bit different, so it's good to keep in mind what some of the different plays might be. I have made a couple updates to the profile that I most recently put out, so I'll probably put the list in the description below, because I don't really want to do another whole video for it. But let's do our first test hand. So first, okay, so we start with the Silvy, Freezing Curses, Elzette, Triple Tactics, and Smiting Storm. So this is one of the cool things about this type of deck, is that even when your cards in hand get kind of low, this deck can surprisingly rebuild hand advantage quite quickly. And so here's what I mean. So first we'll start with normal summoning Silvy. We'll place these cards down here a bit. And we'll use the effect to search for a copy of Woes. And Woes is really nice because it's essentially just a free discard for our Runick cards. So we're going to go Smiting Storm to summon. We'll summon a Hugin. And then, let's put this up here. And then we'll use Hugin's effect, discarding the Woes to search, excuse me, to search for a fountain. There it is. Let me just adjust the lighting here real quick. Then on a new chain, we can activate Woes Engrave to set itself, which is really cool and some really nice synergy that the Runick version has with this deck. So yeah, so now we can do a couple of things here. I think the best thing to do. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go into our copy of Runick Fountain. We're gonna activate it, I should say, and then we'll use these to synchro summon into, because we already have Elzette, we can just go into a coral dragon, and then we can use Freezing Curses to summon, and we can summon another Hugin. Now, if we want, we could search for another fountain, and I think we're gonna do that. So we're gonna go Chainlink 1, targeting R2, Runick Spells Engraved, Chainlink 2, discarding the talents to search for our second fountain. And that's great because now we have both our fountains out of the deck. And even if we wanted to use Triple Tactics, we can just synchro into Diabell and add that back if we so wanted. So we're gonna put Freezing Curses and Smiting Storm at the bottom. And we're gonna draw 2 cards. So 1 and 2. So another Freezing Curses and Slumber, which is kind of crazy. So then what we can do is we'll go into, where is it? We can go into our Diabell, and we can go Chainlink 1 Diabell, add back the talents, and Chainlink 2 Coral Dragon to draw another card. And we draw a Runick Tip, which is kind of crazy. So what can we do here? So we've already used this fountain and we have another in hand. So what's kind of crazy is, one thing I like to do is I'll use Elzette and I'll send the field spell, and we can search for a Rucia. Rucia. That's not a Rucia. There we go. We can get ourselves a Rucia. Then what we can do is we can activate our second fountain. I will use Tip to search, and depending on what we think our opponent might have right now, honestly, getting a, where is it? Getting a, oh, it's right here. What am I doing? Getting a Runick Destruction is actually really nice. Destruction is a lot better nowadays than I think it has been in the past. Like, it's always a good card, but it's generically good into like both U-Bell and Snake Eyes. It's also good into Tempai because it can hit their field spell. It's just a really good card against other Runick decks. It hits the fountain, you know, and just basically any other thing. Also against Desiree, you can chain this, target a monster that's equipped to the Desiree, and destroy the equipped card. And because Desiree will negate up to the link rating of the monster equipped to it on resolution, it's not going to have a card on resolution if you destroy it. So it basically outs the Desiree negate as well. So that's another really cool thing. And so with this, our opponent will banish the top card of their deck, and hopefully we will see what they're playing. Then we can go for a summon of the Rucia, and at this point we can probably get rid of the talents. It will, if our opponent hasn't interacted with us now, they probably won't be. If you want to be safe, if they have Nib, you can always just get rid of like Slumber or something. But I'm going to get rid of talents to draw a card. And we got another Silvy, so we got some plays for next turn. Then I'm going to, what are we going to do? We're going to Slumber to summon. And we can summon out our Gary, or Jerry, or however you want to say it. So put this over here. Now we can do Chain Link 1 Fountain for 2, I believe. Yeah. And then Chain Link 2 Gary, chain blocking the fountain again to add back the fountain back to our hand. And so we can put these at the bottom and draw 2 more cards from our deck. 1, 2. 2 more Runick names. That's so good. Then at this point, you know, what you do is kind of up to you. I think what I would probably do is I'd take these and I turn them into, what would I turn them into? I think at this point we can go for, I don't really want to get rid of the Changing out of my deck. I don't want to go for Changing quite yet, because if our opponent just has instant removal, that's just Changing such a crazy card. It's just gone, and it's really, I think, actually impossible to get back once it's gone. So I'm gonna link into the Triad Master, draw 1 more card, we get another Destruction. Then we can link into these, or synchro actually, into a both light and dark Chaos Angel, which is, I think, pretty strong because now our opponent can't attack over our cards. Another thing we can do is we have Freezing Curses, Flashing Fire, we have 2 Destruction, 2 Freezing Curses, so I think right now we can actually use Destruction to summon 1 more time, and we can summon a Munin. And the Munin will be really good because, 1, it'll give us a life point bonus in the end phase, but also it's targeting protection. So if our opponent has anything to target our fountain or anything, or even our monsters with spell card effects, we have something to stop that. So yeah, so we end on Diabell, we end on the Woes, we end on Freezing Curses, Flashing Fire, and Runick Destruction. So that's going to be another draw 3. Yeah, this setup is just going to be really difficult to break. So yeah, that's the first test hand. This test hand was like I would say an overextending type combo. If you're playing something that you know, or playing someone who you know is on like board breakers, then I think a board like this is something that I would be more inclined to go up or to make. But also it depends on what kind of board breakers you've seen from them, because you know the board breakers can be really good into Runick. The main thing that you just want to make sure with that combo right there is you want to make sure you don't lose to nib. But a good thing you can do in this deck is if you do get nibbed at any point, you can use one of your level 4 tuners in grave, summon it back, and then summon a Gary with a Runick spell in hand, and then just make a Baguska and pass. Which is still can be, for a lot of decks, really annoying and difficult to deal with, because you'll also have Runick cards in hand too. So, okay, let's look at that. Full Runick for our second test hand. Let's see what our 6th card would have been. Yes, our 6th card would not have been amazing going second, although it would mean we'd have tip for our next turn. But we have one of 5 different Runick spells. So let's play this out. So first we're going to do Runick Tip to Search. And this is a combo where, you know, it's essentially we're going to get some draws regardless whether they ash this or not. But so we're going to search for Fountain and then banish the top 1 card of our opponent's deck. Put this here. Then we're going to activate Fountain. Because I really need, or I really want to draw into a playable hand, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I can use, or I can get a draw 3 instead of a draw 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go activate Dispelling to summon, and then I'm going to chain Slumber to summon too. Now, these both summon to the extra monster zone, so only one of them will resolve. But it will allow you to get 2 in the graveyard. And we will do Fountain Chainlink 1, targeting 3, and then Hugin Chainlink 2. Probably get rid of the Destruction for now. And just dealing with my extra deck. And we can search for the other Fountain. So we have both of them in rotation. And then we're going to get a draw 3. We really want to draw into, I don't know, like one of our White Forest cards. We want to be able to play more and make a stronger board. So that's why we want to draw into our deck a bit more. So we will draw 1, 2, 3. And there you go. We've drawn into that part of our deck. So once again, we've used this Fountain, so we can use Elzette, sending the Fountain, and search for, in this case, a Silvy. And here we can go normal Silvy effects. And we can get our Woes of the White Forest. I will be playing the new quick play spell from Rage of the Abyss when that comes out. I think I'll probably be playing 1 of that and then 2 Woes, but you know, I will keep you updated if any of my plans for that changes. But that card I think is going to be a solid one of to play in the deck. Let's see, what can we do here? So it depends on how much we want to extend. So I think, just thinking here, I think we definitely want to try and maybe draw into a way to get skill drain, because I'd love to show off that kind of combo. So because we are not playing, well, we were playing just the one copy of skill drain, obviously, but the cool thing about this version of the deck is that with Diabell, I'm essentially playing 3 copies of the card in my deck, because I am playing 2 Foolish Burial Goods. So we can use these 2. Link into Coral. Definitely want to get those draws. We can also here, actually, let's do something different. I think we're at this point, we don't really need another draw afterwards. So I think we'll go into our Rucia here. We can go Rucia effect, discard the Woes, and search for Rucia. And this is essentially going to be a draw one anyway. Okay, and then we will go Woes effect on res to set it itself. Now we would like to draw some more, so I'm going to go with Smiting Storm. Flashing Fire and Freezing Curses are a little more useful to just keep in the hand, so I'm going to go with this. I'm going to summon a Gary, and then we can use Fountain Chainlink 1, targeting the 2 spells, and then Chainlink 2 Gary to chain block the Fountain to add back the Fountain back to our hand. And so now we could even potentially get a 3rd fountain draw, excuse me. So we got Tip and another Freezing Curses. So, let's see. So at this point, we don't have any spells in our grave, so there's nothing for us to add back off of Diabell. So I think here we could go with a summon of Rucia. And we're definitely playing into Nibiru here again. It depends. If you want to be more careful, you definitely can. I'm definitely being a little more or being less careful about Nibiru, but we'll go with this effect. If you're worried about Nibiru, I think this would be probably a solid place for them to nib. They might even nib when you summon this. So at this point, when you could get a draw 1, they probably will nib. If they don't nib here, then I think you're good to send this with Rucia to draw 1. And we drew an evenly matched, which we're not going to need, unfortunately, going first. But going second, that would be a cool card. But so here we can go, what can we do? Here we can go into a Diabell, and we can add back the Woes from our grave back to our hand. You can see all the hand advantage is insane in this deck. And then the last thing you have here, we have a Gary and a Rucia. You can leave these on field if you'd like, but because we have, where is it? Because we have a Rucia in grave, we have access to getting this out to activate the Woes on our opponent's turn, regardless. So I think just using these cards, I will go into SP Little Knight, and this is just another decent piece of interruption. And yeah, and so here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards in hand. Crazy. So I will, in this instance, I will actually set the evenly matched, and it's actually pretty funny how often my opponent will go battle phase, attack over the Little Knight. Maybe I've used the Woes and they have a number of cards on field, and I'll end up being able to activate evenly matched as a normal trap card, and make my opponent get rid of some cards. That actually happens a decent amount, especially if they can get rid of most of my board. It's actually not half bad. Obviously the main point of the card is to go second and to just completely wipe off your opponent's board, but yeah, so in hand, we have Freezing Curses, we have Tip, another Freezing Curses, which isn't going to be as useful, but we can always send this for Diabelle's effect, so that's no issue there. A Flashing Fire, so a monster pop, and then a Runick Fountain. And then on field we have Diabelle, which can go into Zapper Shrimp, which can go into a Chaos Angel, or it can go into a Changing. We have the SP Little Knight Interruption. We have a Woes, which we can have a Book of Eclipse on our opponent's turn by using either the Silvy or the Rucia to put back the Rucia. And yeah, that's about the standard end board. Now I would like to draw into the funny card at least once. I'll just do one more test hand, and I think we'll call it there. But yeah, I've been really enjoying this deck. I've been really happy with the changes I've made, and once again, I'll put the changes in the description so you can see all that good stuff. I definitely think running 3 Dark Ruler as well as the 3 evenly was not right. I was super worried about like heavy boards, but I've been learning more and more how to break them with the Runick cards and just being smarter with my decision making. And I've been really happy. Like even on this past weekend, I played against one Snake Eye player, and like I broke his board twice. I ended up losing the match, unfortunately. I did make one mistake where I could have like easily come out with the win, but I decided to go with a Munin instead of a Hugin because I didn't think he had Ghost Ogre in his hand, but he did. So, and that ended the game there. But if that wasn't the case, I would have had a pretty good chance of winning the whole match, and breaking Snake Eye Fiendsmith board going second twice is pretty crazy. So here we have a solid hand, especially going first. Going second, our 6th card would be another Silvy, so not as good. But here is what we would do. So I would normal Silvy and use the effect to search. And again, this Woes is just such a free discard off of Hugin. And that's why I play 3 in my deck right now. It's because even if my Hugin gets ashed or impermed or whatever, and I don't have another way to play, like opening this and having this as my discard still means I have a Book of Eclipse for my opponent's turn. So it's just basically just engine kind of, or it's not engine, but it's basically always a live interruption, which is pretty nice, even if your Hugin gets ashed. Anyway, we will go and we will activate Runick Dispelling. Next, summoning our trusty Hugin, and using Hugin, like I say, to discard the Woes to search for Runick Fountain. There's Runick Fountain. And then on res, we can activate Woes and Grave to set itself. We did end up drawing the funny card, Foolish Burial Goods, so I'll show you that that play in just a sec. Here we will go, yeah, here we're gonna go with a Rucia summon, and then we will link these two into, I think this time we'll go for a Coral, because I think I prefer the draw one right now over the White Forest extension. And then we can activate Fountain, and then I will use Freezing Curses to summon another. And in this case, I am going to not chain block because we don't quite have the cards in hand for that. Because I want to keep this. But yeah, we're gonna put these 2 at the bottom and draw 1, draw 2. And hey, looks like we drew the skill drain. So funny thing is we can actually use Foolish Burial Goods for another thing now. So one of the things that I wanted to do with this deck is actually play a card called Fusion Substitute, I think that's what the card's called. It's coming in the mail. I don't have it yet, but I'm going to play that at 1. And what it does is it allows me to put a Hugin back. It's a spell that I can use to put any fusion actually back from my grave into my extra deck and then draw a card. And so that's really good for recurring runic names and getting a draw 1. And so it's essentially, it's also another good discard off of a Hugin. So, you know, at this point we were lucky enough to draw the one of Skill Drain, so we can use Foolish Burial Goods. If there's anything else we want to send, we can send that. But at this point, honestly, what we can do is we can send Runick Tip to our grave, and then we can synchro these off. And because we already have the Skill Drain, we don't need to add that back. So we can go Chainlink 1 Diabell. We can essentially search out Runick Tip, or any other spell trap you want to play in your deck, and then Chainlink 2 Coral to draw a card. And so we drew a Silvy, which is not amazing, but it's definitely it's combo for next turn. So we can, if we know what our opponent's playing, and we know what a good thing to search would be, I wouldn't mind like just searching now and just going tip to search for, say, a destruction if we want to like stop a field spell, or we want to stop our opponent from playing cards that will help us get around the Skill Drain. We can search a card like this. So then we can set the Evenly and the Skill Drain and pass to our turn. So we have, in this scenario, we have a Skill Drain, an Evenly Matched, which we can either send off Diabell if we don't think we'll use it, or if our opponent like breaks through our board a little bit and then attacks, we can then use it to keep our opponent's resources down. Woes, which can go into our Book of Eclipse, and we can even resolve that even under a Skill Drain by using the level 4s to bounce. We have a Destruction, or you could search a Freezing Curses or a Flashing Fire or anything and then get a draw 2. And yeah, at this point you're probably pretty set. So yeah, so these are really strong boards. They don't look like a whole lot, but they're really difficult to interact with, and especially with a searchable, where is it? A searchable Skill Drain. It's super difficult to deal with. So, you know, so many of my opponents just see this and they'll just scoop. It's kind of crazy. And the fact that we can search it with cards like Foolish Burial Goods, I think is absolutely insane. So yeah, that's going to be the video. I think this deck is really cool. I've been doing a lot better with it since I've made the changes. I've been learning a lot with it, and I've been having a lot of fun. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the new quick play spell out of Rage of the Abyss. It's not going to be like, you know, meta defining or particularly insane, but is a really good card, and it's a negate. It's an on-field negate. So, you know, I think that kind of card is really useful if your opponent has like a Cosmic Cyclone for your Fountain, or they want to try and resolve evenly against you. You know, that's going to be really strong. So, you know, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys learned something, I guess. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'd love to answer them, or just have any discussions. Really, I just enjoy talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! And right now I'm really enjoying the White Forest cards and the different types of White Forest decks. And yeah, so hope you enjoyed, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.